Okay, Lisa, tell us and show us what it is you're going to be doing.
Okay, well it is spring, and one thing that I do every spring is I call it maintaining my succulents. I really call it top dressing my succulents, but there are a lot of other steps. What you'll see here is this is an old fountain that I had that broke, and so don't ever throw an old planter away or anything you could plant in, whether it's a bowl with a crack or anything, because you can use it in as a container garden. And I love to grow succulents. Succulents don't need any water, so this planter I ignore all year long. I don't do anything but maintain it in the spring. So with your succulents, I like to add little doodads to make them fun. This is my little pink pig. And usually the first thing I'm gonna do is just pull out any dead leaves, and there'll be a lot of dead leaves, and there's even some weeds. And what you'll see, Gretchen, is these succulents, some of them have died. They get real long and leggy and they've died. So every year I pull all the junk out. So another thing you might need to do to clean out your succulents, sometimes I just turn them upside down and shake to get all of the trash out. And then next it gets a haircut, because you see this long leggy stuff, it just doesn't look very healthy. And so what I do is I just get some scissors and I cut it all the way around. And I just give this succulent a haircut. And this succulent is a version of succulents called sedums. They're also called stone crops. And I have a variety of them growing in this particular pot. But I cut it all off, and then now it has had its haircut. So what you want to do next is I call it top dressing. I top dress my succulents. Now to do this, some years I've used compost. You could also use potting soil. What I'm using is potting soil with a little bit of vermiculite mixed in, because that helps with drainage. And succulents don't like to be overly wet, so that helps the pot drain. And I also have some rocks in the bottom of this planter to help drainage as well. So all I'm going to do is just take a handful of soil and just kind of work it in, because over the course of the year with rain and everything and birds, the soil erodes. So you especially want to make sure you get it around the edges of your plant. And if there's some loose pieces, you can just stick them back in, because they all have roots on them. Got a little more trash in there to pull out. And so that's basically all you have to do to top dress your plants. And then I give it some water. We'll put Mr. Piggy back here. And this pot is ready for another season of growing. So we've top dressed our succulents and they're ready to grow, but we have this. And this may look like trash to you, but this is treasure to a gardener, because these cuttings that we took when we gave our succulents a haircut, these will make new succulents. So don't ever throw them away. A lot of them have roots on them. So what I'm gonna do is just fill a pot maybe about 2/3 full with some potting soil, and you can add a little extra vermiculite or perlite if you want to. And I'm just gonna, I'm basically just gonna weave these in almost like it was a basket. I'm gonna lay them in, put the roots down, and they're really not picky. So these are a lot of different varieties of sedums. One is a blue spruce sedum, that's the blue one, and then the chartreuse one is Angelina sedum, and a lot of them I can't remember their names, but I love them anyway. So now that I've layered over my potting soil, all I'm gonna do is basically do just how I top dressed the sedum. I'm gonna put a little bit of soil in there, stick in the ones that fell out, and then I'm gonna hit it with some water and stick it in my hospital, and this will give me a brand new plant. It'll probably be ready to plant maybe about a month. It'll have put down some roots and it'll be ready to plant right in my garden. So this sedum right here is a ground cover in my flower beds. I'm basically using it as mulch, and it has slowly spread over the years to take over, and I've let it, and I love it. And one of my favorite things to do, I'll show you in just a sec. All right, pause. So this sedum that has taken over everywhere, whenever I have a new pot that I need to fill up with something very quickly, I just come here. You can see it's growing in my trenches, and I just grab a handful, reach down a little bit, and then I cut it, and you can see the nice roots on the back side. And then I put it in a pot, pull out the leaves and trash, and then top dress with a little bit of potting soil, and then I can make a new plant. So here I am with some of my pots that have succulents in them, and these two are sedums. This is another sedum that I use in a lot of my pots. It is a lot taller, and it of course doesn't need any water, so any larger pot that I have in my yard is full of this succulent, and I probably started with just one that a friend gave me or I picked up at the garden center, and I've made so many of them, they're everywhere.
So here I am strolling through just a small portion of Lisa's garden. Look at that beautiful tea set. Every detail is so well thought out and so planned out. Of course, look at that. Like she said, things out of the ordinary, things you wouldn't expect. All right, here's another fun item, a sink in her garden.